In today's Leeds news, end of Buendia Saga approaches. Leeds went for Khusanov. Leeds offered Brazilian midfielder. Svensson's answer. Charlie Crew making his mark. Morning folks, Jay here at The View with your news for Monday morning, the 27th of January. A couple of really brief updates. There will be a watch along live on the Big Up platform tonight, about a half an hour before kickoff. Link is down below in the description. Also, we're doing 10% off all merch on the Back 4 platform, so not just my channel merch, whatever it is, if you use the link that is down below in the description. If you want to get any of the Out Tanaka shirts or even our shirts or Joe Rotwell shirts, you can check him out there. Folks, we'll move on. Let's get stuck into the news. It's not a massively a busy morning. There's a couple of bits of stuff floating around, but it is very, very quiet and probably starting to get to a concerning level as we come into the final week of the transfer window. But we'll start off with the Buendia Saga, and all January it's felt like if Leeds were going to make any moves for any player, it was going to be Buendia, and they were likely to wait until they could get it done. But a month of links and speculation sees us now into the final week of the window with nothing in the door, and reports that Buendia could be looking at a move elsewhere came up over the weekend. But it's not cut and dry, and Leeds are still being linked, and we'll give you the detail on this. Over the weekend, Bundesliga side Bayer Leverkusen were said to have held talks with Aston Villa about a move for Buendia. Leeds continue to be linked with the player, and reports in Germany still say that Leeds are interested in the player, but the player is likely to look for top flight football. Sky Germany's Florian Plettenberg is reporting that Leverkusen are exploring the option of bringing Buendia in, but no agreement has been made, and further talks are expected with Aston Villa this week. Buendia himself is said to be keen on a move to Leverkusen, and the opportunity to play under Xavi Alonso are said to be key factors in his decision. The Athletic's David Ornstein over the weekend shared information that Buendia has extended his contract at Aston Villa, ruling out any permanent move for the player, and meaning a loan move for the number 10 is the only likely option this month. However, reports this morning from Fabrizio Romano on X claim that James McAtee is Leverkusen's first choice for that number 10 position to replace the injured Martin Terrier, and they see Buendia as a backup option should they not be able to get McAtee. The report also claims that Manchester City were not keen on letting McAtee go on loan, but apparently have now changed their mind, meaning Leverkusen could now instead bring in James McAtee and leave Buendia where he is at Villa, meaning that Leeds could then become an option. However, as much as it says that Leeds are still interested in the player, I think at this point Leeds just need to move on from this. Leeds have been said to be frustrated continuously with this transfer, and Daniel Farke himself has spoken before about only wanting players at Leeds who want to be at Leeds. And although Buendia might be a backup option for Bayer Leverkusen, it feels very much like Leeds is a backup option for Buendia. And if Farke only wants players that want to be here, you get the feeling that Buendia only wants to come here if there's no other option on the table. So for me, putting a lot of our eggs in that one basket could leave Leeds at the end of this transfer window empty-handed, and a big issue in cover should Brendan Aronson pick up an injury between now and the end of the season. We'll have to wait and see what happens. It's a massive gamble this month what they're doing. We'll have to see if it pays off towards the end. Leeds did make a move for a player over the course of January that was linked and went elsewhere, but give you the information on this. Leeds were briefly linked this month with a move for Abdulkabir Khusanov from RC Lens, but Manchester City ultimately won that race and brought the player in. But there's a report out today that suggests that Leeds made a serious effort to try and get the player. Reports today suggest that Leeds did in fact have interest in Khusanov and went a step further and actually placed a formal bid on the table. Top Mercato are reporting that at late in 2024, Leeds made a bid of around £17 million for Khusanov. That was rejected by RC Lens out of hand, and Manchester City went and got the player by offering double that amount of money. What this highlights is the kind of talent and players that Leeds want to try and bring into the club, but the issues they have being a second tier club right now is causing the bulk of all the problems. They can see that the players that are being lined up are top end players. They don't want to come and play in the second tier of English football. It's another reason why Leeds need to get out of this league, and another reason why you can't afford to let this window go and not cover your bases. and miss out on promotion because of that. So yeah, all of these things for me are all very much connected. But we move on and we'll talk about a Brazilian midfielder who has been linked, and we're getting into pinch of salt territory. And there's a couple of reports in the rest of this that are, you can make up your own mind on them, what you think, and I'll give you the information. But according to the Mirror, and that's the first problem with this story, they claim that Leeds, along with several other clubs, have been offered the opportunity to sign Brazilian central midfielder Danilo Barbosa from Botafogo. Botafogo are said to need to cash in on the player this month and are looking to try and get the player off their books for financial reasons. Barbosa is in the final year of his contract, so he does kind of suit the 49ers model of getting players slightly cheaper in the final year of their deal. But the Mirror claim that Leeds, Everton and Sheffield United have all been offered the 28-year-old central defensive midfielder. And those three words are where the problem is for me and probably for everybody else. Leeds Live have applied some common sense to this story, and they say that it's understood that it's unlikely that Barbosa will end up in a Leeds United shirt, but that it has not been ruled out entirely. However, Leeds are massively stocked on central defensive midfielders. Ethan Ampadu, Ilya Gruev, Tanaka can all play in those positions. If they bring Charlie Crew back at the end of the season, he can play in that position. Leeds have plenty of options there and not plenty of options in other positions. So this feels to me like a move that isn't likely to happen for Leeds, and probably just an agent getting his name out there because the club are trying to offload him. Moving on to a player that was linked with Leeds last week, and left back Daniel Svensson was linked again with Leeds last week, and reports about this player continue to come into this week. But a summer move is still the likely option. The fullback is a full Swedish international and seen as a very talented young left back in Europe, and Svensson has been speaking about his future with Sky Sports Germany, and they claim that there's no surprise that Leeds United and RB Leipzig have been linked with a move. Situation here is that Leeds may potentially look at this as a move in the summer, but RB Leipzig could make a move for Svensson this month, and if that does happen, that might kick Leeds into action around trying to get him done before that happens. Svensson has said that he is keen for the next chapter in his career, and on the topic of his future, he said the following: "I'm in the 5th season now. The idea is that I will move on relatively soon. Anyway, it's certainly not impossible, a January exit, but it might happen that I play the whole season and then move on." Svensson's contract at the club runs until 2027. And a fee of about £6.7 million is being touted as the number that could get the player across the line. But this will depend on apparently what RB Leipzig will do in this situation. If they move first, Leeds could kick into action. Leeds could have other targets. There's been a ton of left backs linked with Leeds, and yeah, we'll see what happens with this one over the next couple of days. Anyway, moving on to a non-transfer story for a little bit of a break, and we'll talk about Charlie Crew, who left Leeds last week to go on loan to Doncaster Rovers for the remainder of this season. And Doncaster manager Grant McCann could not have been more complimentary about Crew's impact since arriving at the club, labelling the player as an exceptional talent, and admitted a being admirer of Cruz since he watched him play in the FA Cup game between Leeds and Liverpool last year. McCann's thought on Cruz so far are as follows: "I'm really pleased to get him. He's a really exciting prospect. In the 2 days that we've seen him in training, I've been really impressed by him. He takes the ball, handles the ball and can play forward. He's very calm and controlled in what he does. He's the last little bit that we felt that we needed. I'm really pleased with the addition, and now it's about trimming the group a wee bit, and then we're good to go." Crew has made a good impact at the club. Doncaster are joint second in League 2 with Crew Alexandra. Not Charlie Crew Alexandra, but Crew Alexandra. But Charlie himself did start the game against Harrogate Town at the weekend in their 1-0 win, and picked up a 7.3 rating and played 81 minutes of that game in his first game for Doncaster. We'll keep an eye on Charlie for the rest of the season, but a really positive start for Crew. We know there's a talent there, and it's interesting to see other managers label him as an exceptional talent. So yeah, plenty more to come on him. And then briefly, just to wrap up on some rumour mill stuff, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has been linked with reports of a move to potentially Leeds amongst other clubs this month. But again, midfielder, possibly a 10, possibly a wide option, doesn't really fit the bill. But it's out there, but it's very much a rumour, and it's coming from the Sun as well. So, you know, it's a rag. So there you go. Evan Ferguson, Fabrizio Romano saying that he will move this week. Leeds have been mentioned with him loosely, it should be claimed. But Roberto De Zerbi, his former manager, has offered him a chance to come and play in Marseille. So again, Leeds' name's just been thrown around with positions that they possibly need. But for me, those two aren't worth any more detail than I've just given you. So you can make up your own mind on all the stories today as usual. And then again, just a reminder, we will have a match watch along, a live watch along on Big Up tonight, starting half an hour before the game, 7:30 tonight. Link down below in the description if you want to come over to Big Up and join me for that game to keep me company. And again, 10% off all the merch this week. You can use the discount code down below to help you with that. And I will be back tonight on Big Up and tomorrow for your news. And then there's lots of stuff going on tomorrow as well. So we'll kick on and hopefully see Leeds break into some sort of transfer action in the next couple of days. They need it and they need to move quickly. We'll see how the game goes tonight. If Leeds don't win tonight, there could be a lot of outcry for signings, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, folks, enjoy the rest of your day and fingers crossed for 3 points tonight. I'll talk to you later on. See you then. Bye.